Hi there crafters, Louise with you. Thanks so much for checking out this 12 by 12 scrapbook layout. It is inspired by the 123 scrapbooking challenge where you get a sketch, 2 colors and 3 words. It's got a bit of a pink feel to it, and I'm not a huge pink person, but I'm going to try my very best. And I'm working also with my 100 pattern papers challenge as well. So this Cocoa Vanilla Studio patterned paper was part of the 100 pattern papers, and I thought that would be a great opportunity with the butterflies that have a tiny little bit of pink in the background to actually use with this pink sort of patterned page. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just take a little bit of that rainbow intensity out, and I'm going to use my spatula just to create a sort of a background shadow for my white, for my clustering to sit against. And later on I end up spending a little bit of time with my stencil and adding a little bit of pink as well. But for now, while that's drying, because I personally like to let my mediums dry naturally, I don't often get my heat gun out. If I'm in a real hurry and I need to get creative, I will absolutely use the heat gun. But I find that you get less paper warping and a better background all around if you just let mediums dry naturally. That's just a personal preference, so definitely go with whatever works for you. Now, I was very lucky recently. I had a last minute opportunity to take somebody's place on a cruise ship, and so hubby and I got to go away just for a couple of nights on a cruise ship off the Queensland coast, and we just cruised around and had a really nice relaxing time. We ate so much food. I came home like 3 kilos heavier, but it was a really nice time away, and that's the photo that I'm going to scrap today. And the reason I chose these photos was because of the I love this title requirement. So, I think this lends itself really well to all sorts of options. But for me, just looking at, recent photos that I'd printed or had available to me, this one worked. And my clustering around my photo, recently I haven't sort of gone really heavy on the patterned papers, and I found myself, wanting to really get quite layered with this photo. And you can see that I've actually used 4 different pattern papers. I've started with black, and then I've got the checker, and then I think they're swans, pink swans, and then pink rainbows, and having a little bit of a combination of textures there. So there's some torn edges, there's some distressing, there's some clean edges. It really just gives you that sort of pop of pink without really overwhelming the actual layout itself. Now, this is a Simple Stories collection. I'm sorry I cannot remember the name of it, but it is a very sort of Valentine-y collection where it's filled with all these pinks and maroons, and it's, all about love, and it has some really beautiful elements and sticker sheets and the thickers titles and pieces as well. So using quite a bit from stash for this layout, and of course the 100 pattern papers challenge. Now these chipboard frames are probably one of my favorite elements, and I would have loved to tuck my photo behind it, but because I'd done all that layering work, I'm actually going to go ahead and pop the chipboard frame as another layer of the mounting. So that worked out really well, and I think that's quite cute. I'm kind of a little bit overwhelmed with all the elements that I have available to me in this particular collection. I knew I could use rub-ons. I had some florals. I had lots of stickers left over in the sticker sheet, and it's too much for me to think through, and I can't at the moment pick out what I'm actually going to use. And so I'm just going to push everything to the side and go to a simple element that I already know. So the I love this title is going to feature on the layout. That's a given. And I had the love word piece sitting on my desk. It's again an old Cocoa Vanilla Studio. I'm trying to stash bust quite a bit, and I'm just trimming the word down from the word lovely just to the word love. And I'm going to use those alphas to finish off the rest of the title. So just to stop me having to think too much about it, pulling a few bits and pieces and making sure that yeah, things are coming together. Now, this definitely needed florals. Like, this was a pretty page, and I don't use florals very often. As you can see, I have quite a few, but none of them really matched the color that I was working with. And so, okay, stop and think about it again. What am I going to use? How am I going to build around this photo cluster? And so I pull out a few of the ephemera pieces, and I'm going to tuck those around and start to add a few different pieces. So these are, again, they're a little bit challenging because they're such pretty pieces that I don't really want to tuck them in behind. So I have to come up with a way to include them without covering my mounting around my photo, and still having the different elements to be on the page. So I really like this little palette. I think that sits quite cute. It's angled. It's going to make a really good spot to pop my title, to give it something to sit against so that it's not going to get lost in that background. So yeah, you can see that although this is a bit of a challenge, I think it comes together pretty well. It did probably take a lot longer to create than some of my other layouts. You'll notice this is a slightly longer video. And some of that is just kind of backwards and forwardsing because I'm really just trying to build this cluster piece and have something that meets the criteria of the sketch, with lots of layers and ephemera. I just love these stickers. I love the pieces. This was one of, like, Simple Stories are a favorite of mine, so I love working with their products. And yeah, the sticker book, as you can see, I just chopped them in half and tucked them in and build around, and found a sheet of matching florals. So it's like a whole sheet of florals in a sticker book, which is very unusual for me. So yeah, found the sheet of florals, and that's going to really help me to start building some of this background. So the pink stencil work is really quite sweet and subtle, and at the moment I'm just spending time building my cluster. So very much a tricky sort of situation where less is more, but it's also more is more. So yeah, I've got lots of elements that I want to try and use, and the way I build clusters helps me to get to that stage where I'm finally happy with everything, but making sure that, yeah, it's still a nicely balanced layout. And here's where some florals come in. So mounting a couple of the florals up onto foam mounting tape just to give a bit of dimension. And then I kind of toyed with the rub-ons. What do I do? But no, I knew I definitely wanted to build floral clusters in that top right and bottom left part. So I am going to go ahead and stick those straight down onto the background paper. Same again with the ones mounted up on some foam, tucking them in. It didn't sort of worry me too much that I had covered a little bit of this background. Yeah, it still had that sort of pink explosion of distress around the sort of background area of the clustering. And sorry, I'm just looking at the video where I've ripped that sticker in half. I'd completely forgotten about that. And now I'm doing voiceover going, oh yeah, that was my big whoopsie. I peeled the sticker out of the book and then promptly ripped it in half. So yeah, ended up just sticking that down anyway. And coming through now to add some tacky glue to everything. I think my tacky glue might be coming to the end of its life. I think it needs a little bit of replacement time. It is getting quite low. And yeah, basically the finishing stages of this layout are just a few little embellishment pieces. And that again comes down to a little bit of stash busting. You know, I've got lots of this collection still left, and I need to yeah, really just try and get as much of it used as I can. So I'm going to do that with, yeah, those little butterflies, and in the final stages, popping just a little border around the outside to finish things off. And can't forget my journaling, which is very simple, just cruise memories from 2026. All right, that is my layout share for you today. I think this one came together beautifully. I loved the challenge. Thank you to 123 Scrapbooking blog for getting my creativity flowing. And if you're new here, thank you for visiting. I hope you'll leave a comment or even hit that little subscribe button. And as always, happy scrapping.